Hey y'all, it's me, Ever Be Spooky Girl, and I wanted to talk to y'all a little bit about the situation with the college student that got jumped in New York. Now, usually, my channel is mostly about paranormal, supernatural content. And every once in a while, I might comment on something else that's going on in the world. But usually I try to keep it to my paranormal stuff, because that's why I created the channel. But sometimes stuff happen and, I just be wanting to comment and add my little 2 cents. So first things first, I kind of screenshotted it in slow motion. I took the sound out, the original sound out, so I could narrate over. And so I screenshot and zoomed in, so you can actually get a good look and see what's going on. First, I made a little joke up in my title because some people are saying that these people are Romanian, and then some people are saying they're Hispanics. So I just kind of put Romanian and Hispanic together in my title, if you can see it up here. Yeah. Yeah, Romanics and Hispanians, you know. Um, they're saying that the mom's last name is Romanian, but, she could be many reasons for that. She could have remarried to a Romanian man. She could have married and divorced and still use that last name. Maybe the kid's dad is Romanian. I don't know if they're Hispanic or Romanian. I don't know. That's not my concern, and that's not why, I wanted to, talk about this. So, people is commenting a whole bunch of different stuff about this. First, we're going to start with these eyes right here. Now, I'm an energy person. I meditate. I do a lot of stuff like that. You can look in these eyes and tell these are evil eyes. You know how people say the eyes are the window to the soul? These eyes are, you could tell there's something behind it that's not nice. So you can look at the eyes and tell. When you're an energy person like me, you can look at eyes and tell. Okay. So that's that. It's actually a mom and 2 sons. This is a male. That's a male. I ain't got nothing to do with where he think he is. This is a male too. I took this picture from the fight because you couldn't really get a good picture of the other one that was involved. Now that we got that out the way, yeah, I wanted to say that I saw some videos where some people was trying to put this on black men. They blame everything on the black people. I'm not surprised. Here we go. So, black men not protecting black women. This ain't got nothing to do with no damn black man protecting a black woman. All women need protection. All women, regardless of the color and the race. I'm not concerned about these people's race. I'm really not, or, what color they are or none of that. I'm not concerned about that. I'm more concerned that a man thought it was okay to fight a woman. That's what I'm concerned about. Don't try to change the narrative and make this about men not protecting women. We already know women ain't been protected for more than 4 years. This been going on for more than 4 years. And this is government's fault. And a lot of women ain't gonna like this, but if you really wanna, go deep, I would blame more biological females than I would men. Because men, a lot of men, many men, that deal with trans women, they hide it. There's very few men that are out about this in the open. So they hide it. They don't publicly support it or none of that. You know, you got some, but it's few. But women, biological women support this. They encourage it. And they hold some blame with this. And government. Because entertaining foolishness like this is why this is happening. Because people entertaining foolishness. Letting men think that they can become women. That's why this happened. This ain't got nothing to do with a black man not protecting a black woman. Stop trying to put everything on black men. On black people, period. This is government's fault, society's fault, and biological women for encouraging this and entertaining it. That men can be women. If you don't stop them from going into our personal private spaces, if you don't stop them from taking our trophies and our rewards and our places in sports, then they think they have the leeway to put their hands on women. So that is the connection. That's the connection. Nobody's been protecting women. Don't throw this in black men's lap. Don't you dare. Nobody has been protecting women. And biological women support this. So a lot of biological women support this. Trans women are women. Trans women are women. So if you really think that, or if they really think that, then they think they can fight women. Now, let me say something else. As you know, we as humans, when we have issues with people or situations, and we think there's going to be some type of bad interaction, we size people up subconsciously, even if we don't admit it. It's just a human nature. We size people up. If you think you're going to be in a physical conflict with somebody, you're going to size them up, first. You know what I'm saying? Now, the female, looked about my height. I'm 5'5". She looked like she about 5'5", 5'4". Allegedly, what they were saying, the trans son, the guy that thinks he's a woman, he's 6'2". This is allegedly what they were saying about his height. People were posting about his height. Now, I personally don't want to fight a woman that's 6'2", less known a man. I'm talking about two women. Just like in boxing, the way they separate stuff or, put the matches together by weight, weight and size or weight or whatever. It's the same with people. Although fights happen spontaneously, you can't always, you don't always get to pick your fight, because sometimes it just happens and you don't know what's going to happen. People just run up on you. But I'm speaking for me. If I had a say in it, I'm not choosing to fight no 6'2" tall women. I'm talking about we both biological women. You get what I'm saying? You don't, if you got a say in it, you kind of want it to make it fair. You don't want, to fight somebody that's a lot bigger than you, whether it's weight or height, but you don't get to make those decisions all the time. So even if it was two biological females, people would still see the difference and mumble about it, Wow, she was 5'4", and the other lady was 6'2". People would still notice the difference between two biological females because the difference is so great. That being said, she was on her phone. The college student, she was on her phone. I originally thought she was calling somebody and somebody was going to come and help her and stuff. Because, it looked like she was on her phone. Or she, had her phone up to her ear a few times. Now, let me say this. Because I'm black. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a woman. So, I'm going to speak on this. You can't entertain people's energy like that. You get what I'm saying? You cannot. Because you don't know what's going on in people's heads. You just don't know that. And see, she was all by herself. She was by herself. And arguing back and forth with 3 people. Now, the mama didn't seem like she even wanted to fight. If you really look at it, she was staying back. It was the son that ran up. It's 2 sons and a mother. That's what it is. 2 males and look like a woman. Now, you just can't let people change your energy like that. It's something to be said for that. You are the winner when you can walk away and leave somebody looking stupid. I do a lot of security work. I get a lot of attitude all the time. And, when I say, okay, you have a nice day. Even when somebody is cursing, calling me names, I won. Because, you can see where they look confused before walking away. You can kind of see it. So, anybody that's listening, I meditate. I do a lot with energy. Don't let people change your energy. Don't do that. Okay? Don't entertain foolishness. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you by yourself like that. So this was a lesson for her too. For the college student. Because sometimes you can't, it's dangerous to go back and forth with just one person. That was 3. She shouldn't have even been entertaining that. And she probably thought in her, she probably just thought, that they would never. You know what I'm saying? But they did. Now, when you could tell people to have a nice day and walk away and leave them stunned, trust me, they are stunned. Because people are trying to get you to argue and, because their energy is bad and they having a bad day, they will try to change your energy, and, make it like theirs. Don't give people control over your energy like that. Just don't do it. And you have to protect your energy. You don't get to make me mad because you mad. You don't get to make me sad because you sad. I'm sorry for you. I can listen to you. I could be an ear for you. I can listen to you. But you don't get to push that on me. You get what I'm saying? You have to protect your energy. You can't let people change your energy. When somebody is mad and they raving mad, and then, they come over to you and say a few things or do a few things. And now both of y'all raving mad. You just that quick gave somebody control over your energy. You let somebody change your energy. That's what you did. You gave somebody control over your stuff. That's your energy. So whoever is listening to this, start learning how to protect and use your energy. Don't give people control of your energy like that. Leave them in the dust. If they are not putting their hands on you and all of that stuff, leave it. Leave it. Life too short for that. You win when you can walk away from foolishness like that. You are the winner. I promise you. So she learned a little lesson there. And something else I wanted to say. Somebody was saying, people making all kind of clips and stuff. So somebody else was saying how, she's got to be aware of her surroundings. I think they said she was 22, allegedly. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's still pretty young. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can't do it with one person. You don't know, people is on edge these days about a lot of things, and it ain't got, just, you don't know what's going on in people's lives, what's in their head. You can look at these eyes right here and tell these people got issues. You could just tell. If I seen them in the grocery store or something, I would have known that. Just by the eyes, because I mess with energy. I read auras and all that kind of stuff. Like, I would have looked at their eyes and knew that. They ain't had to say nothing to me. I would have just knew looking in their eyes. And they could have been smiling. They're not here, but they could have been smiling. I could still read it. And I thank God for that ability. Because I don't have a lot of friends and things like that. And it's probably because, energy. I'm very serious about protecting mine, and I'm conscious of where I go, where I go, where I go in other people's energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm very conscious of that. And so my circle is very small, except for my family. My circle is very small because, even when people are smiling and being nice and stuff, I can still see through it. It's something I was born with. I talk about it on my channel, but yeah. And so, having that ability is kind of, it puts you in a protection type mode. You know what I'm saying? And, you looking at people, you could kind of see through people like glass. It's kind of hard to explain if you don't know about energy and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Some people probably won't get it, but it's kind of like I can see through people like they glass. Even if they presenting themselves nice, like their energy. I can read their frequency, their vibration. I can read that. So no, I don't read palms and cards and stuff. I don't do none of that. My ability is not for that. I'm not sure what it's for yet, but God's still working on me. So I don't do stuff like that. I don't think that he gave me this ability for that, to, read tarot cards and stuff. That's not for me. But yeah, I kind of, stay to myself because, by me being able to see through people so well, it makes the circle really small because you find out a lot of people is just, full of crap. So back to the story. This was very sad. This was a mess. But she learned a little lesson from this. You know what I'm saying? And I want people to know that Ever Be Spooky Girl said, don't put this on black men. First, people was after the white men. Now they after the black men. Leave them alone. Don't put this on black men. This is government and biological women's fault. Government encouraged this stuff. They passed laws, legislate some stuff, and biological women supporting this stuff. Trans women is women. Even if you got family members that's trans or whatever, and you want to support them, and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand that this is wrong. This is wrong. You can't be you just can't be blind to this. Even with a trans loved one. You just can't. This is wrong. It's wrong for them to be taking the girls' trophies and their places in sports. It's wrong for them to be in the bathroom with females and little girls. This is wrong. This is wrong. And I don't understand why y'all don't get it. Like, this is wrong. It's wrong for them to be fighting women. This ain't got nothing to do with a black man not protecting a black woman. Y'all tried to flip the narrative real quick. No, baby. This is all government and biological women who support this foolishness. That's what this is. Y'all ain't dumping this in no black man's lap. You know? And that's what I wanted to say. And studies say they just minding their business and leaving people alone. And they're not. They're not minding their business, leaving people alone. You know, going in women's sports, forcing your way in women's, sports, being outraged and mad, because you want to go in women's bathrooms and women's spaces and stuff, telling a manager on a waiter when a waiter, can't tell what you is, woman or man. He don't really know. He just probably guessing and working so he can pay his bills. And you go tell the manager on him and get him fired. That's not leaving people alone. When you demand that people call you something and abandon their reality, their religion, their beliefs, whatever, you're not leaving people alone. So stop saying they just want to live their life. You ain't just living your life when you complaining about everything. You're not just living your life and leaving people alone when you in women's sports taking their trophies, their scholarships and stuff, and their places. That's not leaving people alone. That's not leaving people alone. You messing with women. When you demand to go into their bathroom and their locker rooms. That's not leaving people alone. Y'all don't get that? When you complain to the manager at the restaurant that the waiter called you a he, and that waiter ended up getting fired, you think that's leaving people alone and minding your business? You want people to abandon reality. And it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You were able to get a good amount of people, though. Kudos to y'all for that. But, no. You know what I'm saying? You're not just minding your business and leaving people alone when you're demanding women's stuff, women's spaces, women's trophies. That's not just leaving people alone and minding your business. When you forcing people to call you something that you're not. And abandon their reality. That's not leaving people alone. That is not leaving people alone. So, I got a couple of clips. I took the sound out so I could narrate over it. And I kind of zoomed in a little bit so you can you guys can actually see what's going on. Again, like I say, they think they women. Even when you put two women together, biological women, and one is 5'4", 5'5", the other is 6'2", people will still see the difference. And I'm talking about two women. But this is a male. This is a man. Ain't no such thing as a trans anything. And this is happening because society, government, and biological women encourage this stuff. They entertain it. They entertained it, and they allowed women to just be pummeled by this stuff in every aspect of life. And that is why this is happening. So don't try to change the narrative and put this on men not protecting women. Even men that sneak and sleep with them, they sneak. They had it. You see a whole lot of videos on YouTube where the trans women be complaining about the men hiding them. You get what I'm saying? Only women support this stuff. I mean, it's some men, but basically, biological women, the government, a lot of society let this stuff go for too long, longer than 4 years. And that is why this happened. Ain't got nothing to do with a black man not protecting a black woman. Y'all need to stop that. All women need protected. All women needs protecting. Doesn't matter the color or the race. And government haven't been doing that for a very long time. Y'all basically done took all women rights. So here is here's the first clip. It's in slow motion. I'll play it twice and you can actually see, how it gets started. He runs up and hits her first. And then here comes the mom. And there's the brother. Now we're going to watch it again. Now this is the second part. Well, they were struggling to get her down. They really was. She, she didn't do too bad, and like her face wasn't all real messed up and stuff, for it to just been that one her. But I would advise her not to ever do this again. Don't go back and forth with people like that. Again, leave them to their devices. Don't let people change your energy. Don't give nobody control over your energy. You have to protect your energy. Protecting your energy is walking away. See, look how long it took them to get her down. Like she was not trying to go on that ground. So even though it was three of them, they really couldn't fight all that good. If you really want to think about it, I mean, her face was not messed up. She did a very quick interview after that. And she did held her own, but they was wrong for this. See, they got her by the car. Yeah.